There are three platforms associated with movement: V1, V2, which is associated with this mass, as well as V3. For platform, the leftmost platform associated with movement V1, there are three forces in association: Fb1 due to the damper, Fk1 due to the spring, and the input force Fin. Hence, the equation of motion can be written as Fin minus Fb1 minus Fk1 is equals to 0. In the case of the center platform associated with mass m, the forces are Fb1, Fk1, and Fk2. Hence, the equation of motion is Fb1 plus Fk1 minus Fk2 is equals to 0. For the third platform associated with movement V3, we have forces Fk2 and Fb2. Hence, Fk2 minus Fb2 is equals to 0. We next construct a table for the mechanical element, mechanical flow, and electrical element. Working from left to right, it is easy to see that the mechanical elements are the input force Fin, the damper B1, the spring K1, the mass M, the second spring K2, and the damper B2. The mechanical flow associated with Fin is V1. In the case of the damper B1, it is V1 minus V2. For the spring K1, it is V1 minus V2. For the mass, it is V2. Spring K2 would be V2 minus V3. And for the second damper, B2, it would be V3. The next step of incorporating the electrical flow is very straightforward, and completing the table with the electrical elements associates the voltage source to force, resistor to damper, capacitor to spring, inductor to mass. Let us next try to construct an electrical sketch. In the case of I1, only one electrical element is associated with it, which is the input voltage. Hence, we can sketch Vin with a flow of I1. We next find that I2, the current I2, has an inductor associated with it. Hence, I2 flows with an inductor L. There are two elements associated with I1 minus I2, which is a resistor R1 and capacitor C1. Hence, we can draw I1 minus I2 flowing through this part of the circuit, and it flows through R1 and C1. If we look for the case of I2 minus I3, there is a capacitor associated with it. Hence, if there is a current I2 minus I3 flowing, as shown in this sketch, it has to flow through C2. Finally, we consider the case of I3, which has a resistor R2 associated with it. In this case, if there's a current I2 flowing into this node and I2 minus I3 is flowing away, obviously a current of I3 is flowing in this direction and R2 is associated with I3. With the sketch of the circuit, it allows us to construct the final analogical electrical circuit which has the elements included. It's quite easy to see that there are three meshes, I1, I2 and I3, and again they are associated with three mechanical equations of motion.